Janet Boynes grew up in a family of 7 kids, by 4 different fathers. The man who raised her was an alcoholic.
Everybody knew that the Boynes family always had the police outside.
Janet's mother was abused as she grew up.
I think what you have a tendency of doing is repeating what was done to you. I know she wanted the best for me, but the abuse was beyond measure. I can't remember till this day as a kid that my mother ever, hugged me or, told me that she loved me.
The violence she experienced at home spilled over to fights at school. Janet developed a reputation as a bully and a tomboy.
A lot of people used to say, well, are you going to be what they called back then a dyke or a lesbian? And I didn't associate myself with that, but that's what a lot of people assumed.
When she was 12, Janet was molested by a relative. A few months later, she was raped by an altar boy at church. Janet started smoking and doing drugs to deal with the pain.
I was afraid to tell my mom because I thought I would be blamed for it. I started getting high quite a bit. Even though I was a great basketball player, I got high and went to practice.
Janet finished high school and went on to college. She still used drugs, but there were other problems.
I was starting to become more attracted to women. So many men have hurt me that these women I thought were a lot more like me.
Janet struggled to put those thoughts aside. She started attending a church and accepted Christ as her savior. She got off drugs and started dating a man she met at church. When he asked her to marry him, everything seemed perfect.
My family loved him, and they just thought that, we would make a great couple, and I was really excited about that. I was looking forward to marrying him. But because he was a professional bike racer, he did these things on the weekend where it left me pretty much by myself.
Janet started spending a lot of time with a woman she met at work.
She introduced me to her family, who were Christians. Her dad was a pastor of a small church in the St. Paul area, and met her mother, and it was late one night, and I stayed there, and we wind up sleeping together.
Janet was confused and scared, so she went to her pastor for advice.
He said 3 things to me. He said, call off your wedding, get counseling, and tell your fiance. Well, I did one of the 3. I told my fiance what happened, gave him back his ring, and I walked away from the Lord.
For the next 14 years, Janet lived a homosexual lifestyle and moved from relationship to relationship. She became deeply involved in drugs, cocaine this time, and developed bulimia.
My life was miserable. It was starting to go literally just down the tubes. But I was refusing to come back to God.
She and her girlfriend decided to get married.
The priest told us that what we were doing was okay, that we would still go to heaven. And so we went out and got engagement rings because we thought we were going to get married. He said it was okay. I wanted both. I wanted God, and I wanted to live a homosexual life. I wanted to find a way to have both.
During that time, something strange happened.
There was this church called Maple Grove Assemblies of God. And every time I would go past this church, it was almost like I stepped out of myself and I was in that church. And I would look at my girlfriend and I go, I'm going to go to that church someday. She would look at me like, what are you talking about, Janet?
Janet started her own business cleaning health clubs. One night while she was working,
I left 3 o'clock in the morning and told them I was going to the store.
She struck up a conversation with a woman in the grocery store parking lot.
And I said, ma'am, what are you doing out here at 3 o'clock in the morning with all these groceries? And she said, well, I just dropped my son off at college. And I go, what college is open this time of night? And she said, North Central Bible College. And so I began to tell her that I was a backslidden Christian and that I'm living a homosexual life. And she pulled out this brochure. And on that brochure was the church that God told me I would be going to, Maple Grove Assemblies of God.
The woman invited Janet to a women's Bible study.
And me, not thinking in my right mind, I said, sure, I'll go. And I came in with these sweatpants on, looking grubby, not knowing what to expect. I'm in a room with 9 other women, feminine, and I thought, what have I gotten myself into? I'm sitting there with my head down, feeling so much shame thinking, these women are cruel. They're going to chew me up and spit me out. Everybody introduced themselves, and when they got to me, they asked me my name, and I said, my name is Janet. And I said, I'm living a homosexual life. But if you help me, I will live my life for the Lord.
Janet was surprised by their reaction.
They didn't talk about me. They didn't tell me I dressed stupid. They allowed God to change me. They didn't try to change me. One of them came to me a few months later, and her and her husband were praying, and they felt in their heart that I was supposed to come and live with them. Well, I sold my home, asked my girlfriend to move. At the age of 40, I moved in with this Christian home for a year. And it was the most amazing thing to watch this family have something that I never experienced.
And Janet's heart began to heal.
God started putting great godly men in my life, men at church that would just come up and give me a hug. As I continue to be around people that love me and care about me, God continues to heal me from the inside out.
10 years later, Janet is active in her church and ministering to others who want to leave the homosexual lifestyle. She wants them to know that healing is a process, but that they can experience complete freedom in Jesus Christ.
I want everybody else that's living a homosexual life who didn't have a great mother or who didn't have a great father to experience that, God is the father to the fatherless or the motherless. That what he's done for me, he will do for them also.